John Cena's time in WWE has come to an end. Let the rain wash away the tears. It's time he steps away and highlights young talent like Gunther or LA Knight. I'm joking, by the way. I hate when people do that.
LA Knight and Gunther are too old. It should be a guy who's 12. Or a fetus.
The retirement tour had a bit of a bumpy road, to say the least, and even the final match is kinda questionable. So we'll talk about John Cena's last match, Chris Jericho's WWE return, Roman Reigns making creative changes, and the WWE locker room. Welcome back to Greatness of Wrestling, my beautiful people. How are you guys doing today? So yes, a lot of things to talk about. Now, we are going to get the last final match ever, retirement tour extravaganza, which is Gunther versus LA Knight, which is going to happen on SmackDown, and the winner gets to face Jonathan Anthony Felix Cena. It's a pretty big match, it's a pretty big honor, people. That's how big the honor is, that's the size of the honor, to face John Cena. This is what John Cena had to say. Instead of a tribute and spending the whole show based around the past, I wanted to have my final match, then dedicate the rest of the show to the future. So what does that mean? Well, people, the final John Cena's match is not even gonna main event. It's mind-blowing to me. John Cena, I know you're trying to be humble. Nobody wants that. We just want to say thank you. We appreciate what you did to professional wrestling. Some of you grew up loving the guy. Some of us grew up hating the guy, but appreciating his work. I didn't even like the idea of this match being at Saturday night's main event in the first place because it doesn't feel big enough. And now you're telling me Jonathan Anthony Felix Cena Jr. that it's not even gonna main event? I don't like that, but I f with the message. Good. I'm joking around. I f with the message as a viewer, though, as a fan of John Cena now, which is crazy. 12-year-old Great One is disappointed in me. He just left me a message. We just want to get the most out of it. He said this has never really been done in WWE history. WWE superstars don't necessarily retire. They kind of hang on for one more match. I'm absolutely 100% done. The 13th December on Peacock is my last in-ring performance. I will never wrestle again. Okay, let me highlight the line, never been done in WWE history. Somewhere Batista is sitting with his big gigantic cock and saying, excuse me? Excuse me, John Cena? Batista did the same thing. He legitimately retired, so, you know, shots fired. Shots fired. He probably didn't even think about that. I'm just joking around, but yes, people, it still didn't hit me. It still didn't hit me that John Cena is legitimately leaving. That's it. It's literally happening in like, what, 7-8 days? The most obvious scenario is Gunther versus John Cena, which has wrestling fans split. Some people love it, some people hate it, but even John Cena's dad, Jonathan Anthony Felix Cena Sr., is not happy with it. Well, it certainly wouldn't be Gunther, that's for sure. I don't think that was a wise move. I don't think the fans would enjoy that move. Myself, personally, Gunther does not need the rub. By the way, I'm not the fan of the way out you've gotta push somebody over the top. You're supposed to pass the torch. I don't know where was that written anywhere in professional wrestling. If we have to use that analogy, then he's already done that with Cody Rhodes. He beat him for the title, he gave him the title back. Okay, he's actually kinda making a good point. He's making a good point, and people, honestly, if John Cena ends up winning his retirement match, I don't see a problem with that. I honestly don't see a big problem with that. You know, we take this shit too seriously sometimes, and for a change, sure, it would benefit the other guy, but if he wins the match, celebrates music, and all, that's literally John Cena. That's what John Cena is all about, Super Cena. He wins, lol. But then John Cena's dad, Jonathan Anthony Felix Cena Sr., gave dream opponents he would like to see for John Cena. Nah, that is a bad list, I'm telling you. Kurt Angle, okay, Kurt Angle, let's be honest, we love the guy. We all do. Anybody who dislikes Kurt Angle, well, I can't even talk about it because that person doesn't exist. Kurt Angle is past his prime, you know, during his last run, he was pretty slow. Adam Edge Copeland, it's not gonna happen, he's in AEW. It's not gonna happen. Stop fantasy booking Senior Cena. We have Chris Jericho. Look, I wouldn't mind John Cena versus Randy Punk, you know, these big rivalries he had. But Chris Jericho, even though we did get a rivalry with John Cena and Jericho, it was never like that big of a deal, so it wouldn't even make that much sense. And he also said JBL. Like, yes, one of the best John Cena rivalries. The rivalry that kind of kicked off the rise of John Cena, right? I believe he won the first WWE Championship from JBL. You know, I love JBL, by the way. His music, moo. Moo. Holy shit. Love me some JBL. Great heel, great heel. I don't think he can really wrestle anymore. He retired in like 2010, didn't he? So, that is a bad list. Okay, Senior Cena, I play WWE video games too. Also, Seth Rollins will be in attendance. So it's gonna be interesting if Seth Rollins is going to get involved in other matches, like CM Punk versus, I don't know, Braun Breaker or whatever kind of match we're going to get. We don't actually know what kind of match we're going to get from Division, so that's gonna be pretty interesting. And also, I wanna talk about how LA Knight is definitely not winning on SmackDown. That is kind of a shame. I've been begging for this push, man. I've been begging for this push. We've been talking about it, we've been speculating. I personally, as much as I wouldn't complain necessarily about Gunther facing John Cena, I would pick LA Knight. That's for sure. Gunther already got the Goldberg match. Let's switch it up a little bit. I know LA Knight is not necessarily the future, but who's to say he shouldn't be a champion right now? Who's to tell he shouldn't be a champion right now? And also, wrestlers peak at like 40, which is kind of crazy. People want to talk about Chris Jericho. When asked about future in wrestling during a recent interview, Jericho said that he expects to be back in the ring next year. I'm not done yet, so I'm still figuring out everything and I'll see where I end up. I'm pretty sure you'll see me in 2026 in a wrestling ring somewhere. Yeah, by him saying somewhere, he basically means WWE. Where else? You know, he basically just revealed, yes, I'm not signing with AEW, I'm not re-signing with AEW, I'm not promoting AEW right here, you'll see me somewhere. Where? Where else? Ring of Honor is basically AEW. Is he going to New Japan Pro Wrestling? I don't think so. Where else? TNA? Jericho? Come on. He's going back to the WWE, man. And now, I want to talk about this masked man theory. So, a lot of people are claiming, even though to me it literally looks like Austin Theory, like I said, the eyes, you can kind of tell, the figure, the muscles, and yes, I'll say it, so everybody keeps talking, the ass. It's the same ass, the same butt cheeks, people, same butt cheeks, and you never get identical butt cheeks. That's for sure. A lot of people are talking about how, sure, this man looks muscular, he moved very quickly, he jumped on that cage like he's Montez Ford. Ooh, another theory. And they say it doesn't necessarily mean that the man behind the mask, the guy who portrayed the attacker, is the same guy that's gonna be revealed. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the same guy. Somebody from Performance Center is just playing that character, and once it gets revealed, oh my god, it's Chris Jericho. Which I would hate, by the way, because come on, like, this guy is a lot taller, he's in a much better shape than Chris Jericho, and that is not a knock on Chris Jericho. I'm literally talking about how this guy looks like he's in his early 30s or something. Like, crazy ass physique with big ass butt cheeks. It's Austin Theory, goddammit. One misconception is that the guy was black, but it's just face paint, like you can tell. I think it's really obvious that it's Austin Theory, unless WWE are intentionally trying to fool us. Maybe it's somebody who looks like Austin Theory, but Austin Theory is not even in the plans. WWE are just messing with us. Maybe that's the plan, but it would be absolutely ridiculous if it ends up being Chris Jericho. Some people are claiming the return of Chris Jericho could happen as soon as this week's Monday Night Raw, which is going to be the anniversary of Raw on Netflix, which is a big episode, so a return of Chris Jericho doesn't sound that crazy. But you know, people, things are definitely getting interesting. The Masked Man, the return of Chris Jericho, WWE could be really boring, and sometimes it's so boring I just stop talking about it, and which hurts my channel, hurts me even financially, but it is what it is. So at least right now, I'm interested in what the hell WWE are going to cook. Let's talk about Roman Reigns making some creative changes. Self-made proclaims Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker and Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk was the plan for WrestleMania 42 in early November, but Reigns preferred to go back to the Rhodes match, and it's how we got to Punk versus Breaker on the other side. This is absolutely crazy. I could actually put on a tinfoil hat and start, conspiracy theories about how, okay, Roman, you didn't want a Braun Breaker match at WrestleMania and you picked Cody instead. It's almost as if you're scared of Braun Breaker because he's literally the next Roman Reigns and you don't want to lose against Braun Breaker. You're okay with losing to Cody or even winning against Cody, taking back the throne, but you're not okay facing the future. Somebody actually thinks that. It could be true, by the way. I don't know these people. I'm just... It's kind of crazy because Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns is literally a dream match. Why wouldn't he do that? I have no idea. Why did he pick Cody again? Does he want to beat Cody? And he wants to, win the championship again, be in that position? I don't know. It's really sometimes hard to understand how much they care about shit like this. Do they care about these championships? Do they just care about money? It's really hard to tell. Now, the big thing right here is going to be that, oh my god, Roman Reigns made creative changes. I believe when you're at that position, like Roman Reigns, it's not that big of a deal. I think you should probably have a voice, right? Am I wrong right here? Obviously, at the end of the day, you're not making these decisions, but you should be able to say, well, I would prefer this. And then you see what Triple H and the rest of Creative Geeks are going to do with that information. But it's kind of crazy. So right now, we're going to get Roman Reigns versus Cody, I guess, and Braun Breaker versus CM Punk. The other scenario was Roman Reigns versus Breaker and Cody versus CM Punk. It kind of sounds like it was better, wasn't it? Like, Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns is literally a dream match. CM Punk versus Cody is a match we didn't really see yet. Am I crazy or was the original plan better? People want to talk about the locker room. What happens behind closed doors? Are they fucking? Yes, they are, but that's not what we're talking about. You always hear old heads of professional wrestling talking about how it's not like in the good old days. How dare you play video games? Back in my day, we used to do drugs. We used to do drugs, people. So I don't necessarily agree with that analogy. Oh, you're just a bunch of pussies playing video games. We used to do drugs and get drunk and die at 40. So obviously, I don't agree with that point. What I do agree with is wrestlers saying, well, you should probably watch other matches, study wrestling instead of doing TikTok dances. I'm not saying you need to do that, but when wrestlers are saying shit like this, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So right now we have CM Punk explaining the difference between WWE locker room back then versus current day. Back then it was more like high school. You constantly had to watch your back, watch what you say. It was just a lot of weird, mean-spirited high school hijinks. Now the locker room is more business-oriented, and I feel like everybody celebrates everybody else's victory. So that's the good side of professional wrestling, and I absolutely love that. Back in the day, it was literally like prison. You hear all these stories, it's literally prison. You hear stories about JBL, washing your ass with soap, which is not that bad, but so I appreciate that. We can all agree the locker room, like, people are a bit, cool. I get it. But then Bayley says it blows her mind when some WWE talent leave shows early rather than to stay watch others perform, and that is absolutely crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Again, you can do whatever you want with your time. That's cool. That's okay. That's fine. But sometimes we need people like The Undertaker. I wish The Undertaker was still in the WWE. Where you going, kid? Where you go? I'm dead. Aren't you scared of the dead? Shit like this. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of disrespectful in a way. It's kind of disrespectful. I guess if you are a Roman Reigns or CM Punk or John Cena, it's kind of understandable. If you're in the mid-card, below the mid-card, and you leave home after your match, I think that's disrespectful. You should always try to get better. You should show respect to your colleagues. But I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. With the good comes the bad, right? Of course, everybody's nicer, friendlier, less competition. But at the same time, that's also kind of a problem when everybody gets way too comfortable. But people, thank you so much for watching this episode of Greatness of Wrestling. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, the Great One, peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.